Hello, good morning. How's it going? If you're new here, my name is Denali, and this is a series where I sit in my car and I talk about things that may or may not be reseller related. I'm the reseller, and let's see if I can relate the topic back to reselling. But I'm also human, so I like to talk about human and life things as well. So hi, today is Friday, and I've had a little bit of a rough start this morning. I hope your morning was better than mine. Let me tell you about it. This morning, I slept in. And I do drive my son into school in the morning, and we pick up one of his friends and take his friend to school with us as well. And usually I try and wake up at around 6:50 or 7 in the morning so that we can be out the door by around 7:45, 7:50. And I woke up at 7:37 a.m. Yeah, so that means my son woke up at 7:37 a.m. as well. So we made it work. And believe it or not, like, we made it on time, and we got out the house and got, to his friend's house and everything in perfect time. Like, they wouldn't have known if I didn't mention that we had a rough morning. The only thing that was different was that my son was eating his breakfast in the car. So other than that, we're good. He ate breakfast. So I feel like that's a win right there. I still got my kid to eat breakfast in the morning. So that's great. And then instead of coming directly to my warehouse, which I'm outside of right now, I went home and I was like, you know what? I want to have a cup of coffee and I want to have breakfast. So I went back home and I sat myself down at my kitchen table and I made myself something to eat. Fun little thing I picked it up this past weekend. So I mentioned in, I think, last Friday's video that I haven't been thrifting in how many months did I say? Basically since, I think, September of last year. And when I say that, I mean I haven't gone to the Goodwill bins. I have popped into a local thrift store just nearby where I live because, it's close. And I'm generally just going in there for myself, like for personal thrifting, and not looking for stuff to resell. So anyways, I went in there last week and I found something that I had been looking online at for a really long time, but I couldn't pull the trigger on purchasing. And it was one of those egg cookers, which kind of feels like a frivolous purchase because you can just cook eggs, on the stovetop. You can boil eggs or you can microwave eggs. There's a lot of ways to cook eggs. You don't need necessarily an appliance for it. So that's why I've never been able to pull the trigger on it, even though they're only I think $15 for this little egg cooker. I think it's called Dash egg cooker. I'm gonna link it down below because I like it. So spoiler alert, I really like it. But it was at this little thrift store near me, and I think I paid maybe $2 or $3 for it. So when I saw it there for $2 or $3, I was like, yeah, I want to get this. I've been wanting it and I want to get it. I'm an appliance girly. Let me know if you are one as well. I love a good kitchen appliance. Not necessarily gadget. I like a kitchen gadget as well. Like, for instance, the thing that you can put in the top of a strawberry and rip the stem out, or a cherry pitter. Love those. But I also really just like a kitchen appliance, fun tool, gadgety thing. So anyways, this thing is awesome, and I made myself 2 medium boiled eggs. The only thing I will say about it is that the model or version that I got at the store has a really loud alarm when it's done cooking the egg, which is great because, yeah, you need to come pull the egg now. You don't want it to cook too long. However, it is, when I tell you it's a startling alarm sound, yeah, that's an understatement. All right, so I finished my eggs and I did have a little croissant and I had some coffee. I accepted some offers on Poshmark. I counter offered some people on Poshmark, and now I'm here at the warehouse. What have I got on my agenda for the day? I've got some shipping, and to be honest, I'm kind of thinking about leaving early today. I don't know that it'll actually happen, but I have a fantasy in my head of leaving early. I need to clean up my office, which I worked on last week. I actually got it looking pretty clean, and then I managed to mess it up again. So I would like to have it clean again because it was really nice on Monday this past week. or whatever day. No, it wasn't Monday because I think I took Monday off. It was really nice to come in on Tuesday and have this totally clean office space to walk into. So I want to give myself that gift starting out next week. So we'll see if I do that. I see my mail carrier across the street right now. So yay, that's a good sign. That means he's that he will be here to pick up our mail this afternoon. What else can I talk to you about? Oh, there's this TikTok trend that I saw happening about a week or two ago, and I thought I would just touch on it. I think I can bring it back to reselling, but maybe not. But there were, I think, a couple videos that I saw of girls sitting in their cars. Sound familiar? But they were talking about this concept they were calling it lucky girl syndrome. Now, there's got to be a better term for it, in terms of, what is it, like a psychology term or something for it, just it's like a positive thinking, sort of affirmation way of thinking. And the way they spoke about it, however, I was like, oh, like I've never called it lucky girl syndrome, or we can say lucky person syndrome, because you can be, anybody, right? Any pronouns, whatever that you want to go by. I've never thought to call it that. I always just have called it for myself, everything works out for me. And I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but I feel like I have. But I've always had this mindset of everything always works out for me. So when I'm going to make a big decision or change or something scary, a big scary decision, I always say, well, everything always works out for me. And I don't say it as a mantra, though it's turned into a mantra, I suppose. I say it like genuinely, like in my head, not just in my head, but I say it out loud as well to whomever I'm speaking with. I'll say, oh, well, everything always works out for me. And it does. And let me tell you why. My biggest example, I guess, that I can relate to reselling would be when I left my job to begin reselling. I didn't have like proof of concept that reselling was a long-term sustainable job. All I had was my own personal work history and background and work ethic to go off of, in that I had resold for many years on and off, like as a side hustle. I knew I loved it. I knew I was passionate about it. And I knew I was like a really hard worker, and that if push came to shove, I would just work and work and work to make the business work for myself. But when I left my job, and when I told my husband that, I want to quit my job and I want to do this job full time, I know I would have said to him, I'm not worried because everything always works out for us, which is true. For him and I, everything does always work out for us. We've had some bad situations that have come up or have affected us since we've been together. I mean, here's one for you, which I won't elaborate on too much, but we had a over 100 foot tree fall on our house, karate chop our house while we were home. I was home with my son and I was in the room that it fell on. And there were pieces of my ceiling that fell onto me and cut up my arms here. Maybe I'll include a photo here for you. I'll include a photo here for you because it's just kind of insane to think about. It was an awful situation. It damaged a section of our home. We didn't live in our home for, I think, 6 to 8 months. However, everything always works out for us, and it did. I mean, it wasn't ideal to have to go and live. We lived in an apartment, that wasn't our space, with rented furniture because we didn't have all of the furniture moved out of our home while the construction happened. However, we came back to a better house, right? Because when they rebuild a part of your house, they're like, okay, well, what do you want done? Like what little things, right? Just in terms of replacement, I think that's what's called, replacement coverage. That's the sort of insurance you want to have. If you didn't know, you want replacement coverage, not any sort of depreciated coverage. And so by the time we went back to our house was better than we left it, which was awesome. We don't live in that house anymore. I had a little bit of too much PTSD. However, that said, right, again, there was like another bad situation. I had really bad PTSD when we lived in that house once we went back. And even though it was now better than when we left it initially, and my husband and I, but my husband a lot more than me, really didn't want to move. And I was like, I have to move. I can't live in this house anymore. Again, I know I said to him, listen, everything always works out for us. It did. We sold that house for much more than we paid for it, which left us with enough money to then go and buy a nicer home. And so anyways, and that house has appreciated a lot as well. So everything really does always work out for us, but it's a mindset. You have to kind of trust yourself and trust in the, I don't want to say the universe, but you have to trust in yourself that things are going to work out for you. And you have to kind of carry yourself in a way where you believe that, because then you're going to kind of take actions in that way. So yeah, for reselling, just to go back to that, I did work a lot, and I have continued to work a lot, right, to make this business work for me. I think, you know, from a faraway view, and I'm sure you can relate to this in your own way, people might look at you and your business and think, oh, wow, like things are going really good. Well, it's because they have some sort of, like, they're, you know, better, they have some sort of better circumstance than you do for whatever reason. No, I came into this situation, and you came into this situation, as we all do, selling items from our own home, selling old clothes and toys of my sons. And then it just snowballs, right? You just adapt and you get better at the work that you do. And so anyways, I would encourage, I guess, if you don't consider yourself to have lucky person syndrome, to just start telling yourself. So if you don't think you have it, and you don't believe in it, to try telling yourself for a week or a month, gosh, everything always works out for me. Gosh, everything, like, I'm so lucky, things always work out for me. And see if it starts helping, because mindset really does a lot for your mind, right? It's going to steer you in a different direction. If I thought to myself, you know, with the warehouse right now, it's kind of a pit. It's been a pit for a little bit, and I've been working on it every day for the past few months, making, you know, I'm just chipping away at it, right? Making small progress, which to me, I'm looking at it in a positive way. I keep telling myself, like, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. We're just going to get through organizing and inventory and all this sort of stuff little by little. I could look at it and be like, this is awful. I'm in a terrible situation right now. I feel hopeless. I want to just throw it all out, and I don't think I can do this job anymore. Like, it would be super easy for me to say that. I'm choosing to say, hey, this is a lot of work, but look at me. Look how much I've done so far. Look how much I've cleared out. Look how much I've organized. It's not done yet, and I've still got a bit of work ahead of me, but I've made some great progress. So it is a choice. You can look at it one way or the other. I always try and go with the sunny disposition on it, because I can trick myself into believing that it's true, and I feel better about it when I believe that that's true. So anyway, I'm curious if you guys feel like you have lucky person syndrome, or for me, like I said, it's the everything always works out for me. Do you have everything always works out for me syndrome? Let me know. And I, you know, again, I want to acknowledge that sometimes circumstances in life are just very difficult. I completely understand that. And sometimes everything always works out for me doesn't always apply. So let's just get that out of the way. However, for the most part, I'm just talking about a shift in mindset to anybody who just doesn't have that currently. And maybe it might be beneficial for you. So let me know. I should probably go in, but I wanted to, you know, I wasn't sure if I wanted to film a video, but I was like, you know what? I think I could talk about this, because it's something that I was surprised to hear other people think this way. I know that people have their own positive affirmations, but it was just surprising to hear that somebody else thought about it in a very identical way that I did. And you know what? And then I come on here and I share things with you guys and you're like, oh yeah, me too. Or I feel this way as well. And I'm like, yeah, this is why you are my people. This is why I'm your people. You're my people. This is why we get along so well. So anyways, all right, I'm going to go inside and start working. You keep working, keep listing, photographing, doing all the things that you're doing, or keep cleaning your kitchen right now. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.